Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 20th of August, comes to you from London. Dollar continuing to just edge higher, so still looking bullish on all three time frames, and that means that the euro is looking weaker, back below that 111 level this morning. So we're seeing euro bearish on all three time frames, and the sentiment news coming out of Germany potentially in recession. Not really helping there, and we're looking at the dollar yen. It's also looking better short term, but medium and long term still bearish. The sterling chart, we're seeing falling away against that stronger dollar. So sterling weakening again, bearish on all three time frames, and against the euro, we're sitting at 109, not quite as weak here, just holding on to short term bullish against the Swiss franc 118.42. So sterling recovering except for that stronger dollar. Looking at Bitcoin, we're sitting at $10,800 this morning, so we're edging higher here. We had targets to 11,000. We're getting close to there now. The US stock market was up very sharply yesterday, so really bouncing now on support, which is good news. Just edging back into bullish territory on the short-term chart, and the Nasdaq also edging back into bullish territory. So we are finding support at the moment, despite the news that you might read. These markets are still just holding bullish. The Dow also not quite up to the short-term chart, but is looking better there as well. The Russell 2000 index still lagging here, and we're bearish below the cloud. And if we take a look at the futures this morning, we see the futures up 0.1% on the mini and 0.18 on the Nasdaq future. So it does look like the US markets will open slightly higher, flat to slightly higher. UK market is up 0.4% this morning, not enough to change the short-term bearish trend. And on the mid-caps, we're also in a similar position. The DAX in Germany is actually also just trying to break through that resistance level, and the CAC 40 similar is actually managing to just get through. But European market's not looking as good as the US market. Looking into Asia now, Japan was up 0.8%, Hong Kong was down slightly, and China was also down slightly, although it is just managing to look a little bit better on that short-term chart. The Indian market also managing just to hold onto that bullish short-term change, but it was down slightly. And the Aussie market was up strongly at 1.1%. Still looking bullish on the medium and long-term charts, just not managing to get bullish on the short term. Brent crude still sitting below the $60 mark, although it is just edging higher. And WTI, West Texas Intermediate, also edging higher there. US nat gas sitting steady at $2.21. Gold just hovering at the $1,500 mark. It's just short-term bearish, and silver much the same picture. And if we look at US 10-year yields, we're just sitting at this 1.58% mark, and German bond prices still managing to rise on the short and long-term charts, but the short-term chart just finding some support there. Looking at the individual stocks now, if we look at the Dow, the best performer in the Dow last night was Cisco Systems, up 3.3%. Not enough to change the picture on this chart. It's having dived recently. It's a small recovery. Only Amex was the only stock down, and their chart actually looking pretty good still. On the Nasdaq, the best performer was Mylan Group. They were up 8.9%. Baidu were up 7.8%. So we are seeing, and Nvidia up 7%. So we've had some pretty strong performances. Only three stocks down: Mercado Libre, Workday, and Vodafone. Looking at the Aussie market now, we had IPH Limited. They're up 10%. That chart looking absolutely stellar, outperforming the Dow Jones by 35% this year, with further upside targets 10% and 40% higher. If we look at the downside, we had Saracen Minerals. They were down 3.5%. That chart actually coming right off the top, so looking a little bit more worrying there. Still outperforming the market by 35% this year. Looking at the Nifty 50 in India, Best performer was Maruti Suzuki. They were up 2.5%, but the chart looking pretty bearish. On the upside, we had on the downside, we had Yes Bank. Further falls there. This is the chart that seems to be in the laggards almost every day, underperforming the Dow by 60%. Looking to Europe now, the best performer in Europe in the FTSE 100, Hargreaves Lansdown up 2.2% this morning. But the stock not really managing to hold. Here we see live pricing coming in from Yahoo. And on the downside, BHP out with results this morning, and the medium-term trend breaking down. So not looking so good there. The relative on a bit of a knife edge, so keep an eye on that one. On the mid caps in the UK, we've got Contour Global. They're up 3.5% this morning. Not enough to change the picture of this chart. Not a great looking chart. On the downside, Ted Baker down 2.5%. Retailers really in the mire. Royal Mail down 2.5% as well. These charts all looking pretty dire. Aston Martin down 2.3%. They continue to fall. And CYBG, having recovered a little bit yesterday, falling away again today. Taking a look at the European market now, Kering Group in Paris, they're up 0.9%, so they're looking stronger. And then on the downside, we've got Telefonica down 1%, and that chart's hitting the bottom, not looking at all good. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.